Hello and welcome back to the Celtic Way. It's Celtic versus St Mirren. It's a live team news reaction and trophy day build up from Glasgow. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on it. It's our Twitter handle. And I'm joined by Ryan McGinley at the Ryan McGinley on his social handles, who's somewhere live from Glasgow, as you can see on the caption there. Ryan, how you doing? Sunny day, trophy day, as it's known. Celtic are used to these, are they not?
Another tedious trophy day, Tony. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody in the comments and who's watching on are doing well as well. And even the people that are watching after the video. It's trophy day. It's a day to enjoy. And it sums up all of Celtic's hard work throughout the season. So looking forward to getting involved. Looking forward to sampling the atmosphere. 60,000 fans today, you would expect. And yeah, let's get into it.
Indeed, quick word from our sponsors first in the Celtic Way is brought to you by S1 Jobs. And if it's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to s1jobs.com and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Glasgow and Edinburgh and the surrounding areas, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. So start your search today, and we thank them for their continued sponsorship of the Celtic Way morning briefings and Celtic Way pre- and post-match briefings. Ryan, Celtic team is out. You, as always, can do the honours. Take it away, sir.
Thank you very much, Tony. So it's Castle Schmeichel starts and goals. A back four of Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor left to right. You've got Callum McGregor, the captain, in the middle, joined by Arne Engels and Paulo Bernardo, who takes Rio Hatate's place. Adam Ida leading the line, supported by Daisen Maeda, who's won just about every award under the sun in the past 2 weeks, and Nicholas Kuhn on the right as well. Have you got the subs there for me, Tony?
I have indeed. It's Sinizalo, Trusty, Yang, McCowan, Schlupp, Nawrowski, Kenny, Forrest and Ralston. That makes up the Celtic team for today. That's who's on the bench. Would you make of that team, Ryan?
That's the team for the cup final, Tony. I don't know about you, but I think Brendan Rodgers has got both eyes on the Scottish Cup final next week. Yes, there's a job to do today. Got to remain professional, but I think this is the dress rehearsal. Not so much the dress rehearsal on Wednesday against Aberdeen. It feels like today's the real dress rehearsal for next week's game against Aberdeen. That is the team, probably the team that most people would pick for the final. Maybe change Kuhn for Forrest, potentially Luke McCowan for Paulo Bernardo the other way about. But that, I mean, out of 9 out of the 11 places, I would say that's the team for the Scottish Cup final. And I think Brendan Rodgers has got that in his mind ahead of next week.
Well, he always says that trophy days are great and the celebrations are great, but you've got to go to work. The game of football is just something that's incidental in between. And I think you're right. I think he's got an eye on that cup final and he wants to build momentum and he wants to see that team play before he puts it out at Hampden against Aberdeen. I'd go as far as to say that will be the team as well.
Yeah, me too.
I think you're bang on the money there. If you ask the canvas the Celtic supporters, I think that would be their team. And possibly, as you say, maybe one change I could foresee, and that would be Luke McCowan for Bernardo, possibly. But I think you'll go with that team at Hampden next week. But it's all about today, Ryan. St Mirren, you're still going for Europe. They need to win and hope other results go their way. So could end up being like last season, Ryan, 3-2 at finish. St Mirren gave Celtic a right good game on Trophy Day. Lewis Palmer got the winner that day, Ryan.
Whatever I remember
it. A year on, it's a
I think it was Mark O'Hara that scored the 2 goals for St Mirren. I seem to remember. I think he put them 1-0 and then 2-1 up. So it was a really competitive game. I can see the game going quite differently today, to be honest with you, because I looked at what the players that came into the team on Wednesday did to Aberdeen, and I'm thinking, the players that didn't play on Wednesday that we playing today will be hungry. I think there'll be a statement put out today by Celtic. I think they're now playing for this cup final. Spots are there to be guaranteed for that cup final. This is the last opportunity to impress. I know you've got training during the week, but in terms of a game situation, this is the last game until the Scottish Cup final. I've just got a funny feeling that Celtic are going to put out a statement today and really turn on the style this afternoon.
When you put on the afterburners, Ryan, on St Mirren,
yes.
And do what they did to Aberdeen, do you believe so, yeah?
I do think so, and I think if all goes well, it could be a similar sort of scoreline. I would want Celtic to keep a clean sheet, obviously, and I think that St Mirren are a good team in this league, managed by a very, very good manager who, a bit of a side note, I think he's been overlooked for some of the top jobs that have been going recently. I think Stephen Robinson has done an incredible job at St Mirren recently. But they're the opponents that are in front of Celtic today. They're the last opponents until they face Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final. I expect Celtic to come out and put on a bit of a show today, because the fans, despite coming for a party, they're coming expectant. They're coming expecting a good performance and the lead up to that. Not that I don't think today's events will affect next week whatsoever, because that's a game in itself. But if you can go into this game off the back of a really good win, a couple of really good wins against Aberdeen and St Mirren respectively, you put yourself in the best sort of shape for the cup final. I just expect Celtic to turn up today and really turn on the style, as I said before.
Yeah, I concur with your thoughts on Stephen Robinson. I think 3 times in a row to get St Mirren into the top 6 is a wonderful achievement.
It's an incredible job.
And like you say, some of the bigger jobs, I don't know what clubs are wanting in a manager, but Stephen Robinson is right in front of their nose, and if he's not their man, then so be it. It's St Mirren's game, and I've been very impressed every time Celtic have played St Mirren. There was the 5-2 game at Paisley earlier this season, one of the more exciting games when Yang came on and turned the game. And Celtic were, I wouldn't say toiling, but they were in a game up until that point, and very much so. But again, late turned on the afterburners, ended up winning by 3 clear goals. But yeah, I was talking to Hamish during the week, and he said it had a feel of the Celtic Motherwell Trophy there, and Celtic won 6-0. Mm-hmm. He said he feels that could be in the offing again. Judging from your comments, you feel that could be another kind of day like that, Ryan?
Got to caveat that by saying if Celtic turn up and play the way that we know that they can play, if it becomes a turgid affair, which I don't think it will be, I think they've got everything going in their favour. They'll be excited for next week. They've got the trophy coming out at the end. That's something to look forward to. But they've got to be professional and go and do their jobs. And for the most part this season, they've went and done that and then some. So I expect them to do similar today. For good results in the past against St Mirren. They're quite used to playing St Mirren on trophy day, it seems like. But good opponents. That's what you're going to get with a top 6 game. Decent teams playing against each other. But I fully expect Celtic to come out and put on a show today. I'm quite excited for this afternoon's game.
Mark Fairfield coming in and saying, lad, what do you think Nawrocki needs to do to keep him in the team? Listen, Nawrocki's not let anybody down when he came and scored a wonderful goal the other night. Great header, great delivery on the cross. But I think it's clear that he possibly doesn't have a future because Brendan Rodgers just maybe doesn't fancy him, Ryan.
Listen, you've got to have a number of things go for you when you're a Celtic defender. You've got to be good on the ball, which I think Nawrocki has shown over the past couple of games or couple of appearances that he's made. You've also got to have the manager's approval, and I think his teams over the majority of the season, the majority of times this season when the team has been named and Nawrocki's not in it, that tells you all you need to know about how he views the player. Scales, to be fair, Scales was in a similar position a couple of years ago. A couple of injuries happened, and then he's now one of the first names on the team sheet for Brendan Rodgers when everybody's fit. It seems like even when you bring in a £6 million defender, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, more often than not, will get the nod over him. So it's going to be an interesting summer for Mike Nawrocki, I would say. Just because he won't necessarily make it, or he might not make it at Celtic, doesn't mean that he can't make it at another club. And I think he's got enough pedigree to show that he can do it at another club. Just look at Gustav Lagerbielke, who's doing really well for FC20 over in the Netherlands. I could see Mike Nawrocki doing the same, if not better, because I think he's a good defender. But I just feel that Brendan Rodgers has maybe made his mind up on the player. He watches him every day in training, and Brendan Rodgers is one of those managers. I think once he makes his decision on you, it's pretty much final. So we'll see what happens in the summer on that front.
Well, there's no room for sentiment, as you said, and you've went to start with his team selection. There's no James Forrest, despite one of the journalists asked him yesterday if he was on the free kicks and penalties and everything, and said probably everything. And he caveated that by saying he doesn't have to score. And I think that was a wee kind of warning, as if I'll not pick him on sentiment, I'll be picking him on merit. And he was outstanding the other night, Ryan, but was on the bench today.
Yeah, because I think that Nicholas Kuhn will start the Scottish Cup final.
Yeah.
And kind of gone under the radar because of his second half of the season. But who can forget that first half of the season where he was scoring every single week? The fact that James Forrest has had so much game time in the second half of the season is partly due to his own form, but also the downward turning form of Nicholas Kuhn, apart from a couple of games here and there. But today's a real opportunity for him to get back on form ahead of the biggest game of the season, the chance for Celtic to get the treble. There was also a good moment in the post-match at Pittodrie where a journalist sort of made a statement, said, James Forrest Scott to be playing.
Yes.
And then there was a bit of silence for about 10, 15 seconds. You could cut not the tension, but maybe the awkwardness with a knife. And Brendan Rodgers was like, "Does he have to start? Does he really?" It was a bit like, I think it was Brendan Rodgers doing his best Ange Postecoglou impression, to be honest with you. It was one of those funny moments. He's got that in him. Doesn't show it as often as maybe Ange did in charge of Celtic, but he showed that he won't be played due to sentimentality. He'll be played because he's the best option for the game.
Yeah, there's the team flashed up there. Nicholas Kuhn, Adam Maida and Dyson Maida leading the line. Ryan, Dyson Maida, he's just living the dream just now, is he not? Just waltzing off with every trophy imaginable. So, a lot being made of the goals he scored this season, but I'd love to see him get a couple today as well. Keep it going.
I think he would as well, because he's not the top goal scorer in the league anymore at the moment. It would be maybe keeping half an eye, if you can even do that, on events at Easter Road to see how many goals Cyril Dessers scores. But Dyson Maida and Simon Murray as well. How good would the Dyson Maida hat-trick to really seal the deal today be? You wouldn't put it past him either. He's got that in him. He's got that in his locker. It wouldn't be the first hat-trick that he scored this season. But it's all about the team at the end of the day. His accolades have been plentiful. You know, who would have said that Dyson Maida would have been the top goal scorer for Celtic this season? Not many. I think a lot of people would have said Kyogo would have been. He obviously left in January. Adam Maida has been in and out of the team, but his goal return is good when you look at his minutes to goals ratio and the amount of appearances that he's made and the number of minutes that he's played in those minutes. For me, I've got to say there is a tinge of sadness about today as well, because of Rio Hatate, because he's been involved in every single game this season, whether he started or a sub. An innocuous tackle, a silly challenge from Papagay, which mystified me as it wasn't a second yellow card because of the blunt force of the tackle or the kick or whatever you want to call it. For him to miss out on Trophy Day and then the Scottish Cup final just seems pretty unfair to me, given how available he's been. He had so many injury problems last season. Remember, Brendan Rodgers was so frustrated that he couldn't get the best out of the player because he would come back and then he was injured once again. So for him to miss out in the last two games of the season, it kind of feels like a bit of an injustice. But I also think it'll fire the Celtic players up for next week. I think it'll have a positive response. It'll give a positive reaction to the Celtic players going into next week, because if they needed any other motivation, then go and do it for Rio Hatate, who's played every game for Celtic this season thus far. So that's got to be the aim. I'm sad for Rio Hatate, but I hope that he can get out onto the pitch and enjoy the celebrations, because he's been a massive part on all things good about Celtic this season.
I'm sure he will. Since Dyson Maida promised a hat-trick, he hasn't hit a hat-trick yet. So maybe today's the day. But
he's got a new ball to give to his newborn son, Raiku, who was born, I think the other day. There was quotes going about on the in the media last night about the fact that his partner's had his third child, but he's not going to meet his newborn son until after the Scottish Cup final. Might have bigger fish to fry in that regard. You'll have one eye on what's going on in Japan as well. So hopefully he can get that done and go and see his newborn. But congratulations to him and his family. Congratulations
to everybody concerned, and welcome his newborn son Raiku into the world, indeed. But yeah, I think you're right. It is a shame for Rio Hatate. You said it was innocuous. I say it's deliberate. And Brendan Rodgers had his saying that as well. He wasn't too chuffed for that. But it is a real crying shame that Hatate's going to miss the glory day today, and hopefully another treble next week. Obviously not taking that for granted, but it's two massive games to miss, and he'll be a massive miss for Celtic in those two games.
He will do. He will be. But with these knocks and these unfortunate events present opportunities for players. Now, Paulo Bernardo, he knows all about injuries because he's had quite a few injuries this season. Now he's came back into the fold, had to really work his way to get some minutes. Sometimes he's been an unused substitute on the bench for Celtic, but he's getting that start today. I think he's going to be a massive player over the next 2-3 years for Celtic. He's had this year to really acclimatise to being a permanent player for Celtic. Obviously, he had the loan deal, was probably playing for his move last season, but now he's a proper, fully fledged Celtic player. It's maybe not went the way that he's wanted this season. That injury that he suffered in, what was it, January, February time, has really curtailed his season, missed a lot of game time. But today's a real opportunity for him to confirm that spot for the Scottish Cup final And if you know about Bernardo, you know that he can turn it on in a Scottish Cup final. Just look at last year, for example. So a big moment for him today, but he knows that if he doesn't perform today, and if Luke McCowan comes onto the pitch and performs the way that he did against Aberdeen, then he could potentially get that yellow jersey for the midfield in the Scottish Cup final.
It's funny, when I think of Bernardo, I think of two moments. I think of the Scottish Cup final, the run and the shot in the last minute, which Jack Butland parried into Adamida's path, and also his pass at Ibrox. So that's the two things that flash in my mind to Adamida, who scored to make it 3-2 in the 3 each game. So I've no concerns about Paulo Bernardo coming in and doing a job.
No, me neither.
Today and next week. So, and I want to see more of him. And as you say, Hatate's misfortune is Bernardo's fortune. So hopefully he grasps the nettle on that and takes the bull by the horns and gives us a performance both this week and next week. And then, as you say, you can look forward to him being a big player for Celtic, hopefully, in the coming years. Yep. Now, Ryan, before you go, I'll get your prediction from you.
Don't want to. 5-0 Celtic. I've got a funny feeling Celtic are going to really turn it on this afternoon. Put a performance that's worthy of champions. I'm going to put on a show for everybody concerned. I think it'll be 5-0 to Celtic. I think Maeda will score a couple, Adamida will score a couple, and I can see Bernardo scoring as well, funnily enough. I've got a funny feeling he scores in these sort of games, these 4 or 5 goal games. So I can see him doing similar this afternoon. But I'm confident that Celtic can go and get the job done today and really put themselves in perfect condition ahead of the Scottish Cup final this time next week.
Well, I usually go 1 up or 1 down. I think I'll go 1 down, Ryan, because 6-0 would be... so I'll say 4-0. 4-2 says the Maestro 95. There you go. Hazel Finn agreeing with me, 4-0. Great minds think alike, Hazel. Lanky 82, 7-1. Go on, Lanky, you like that. Natalie McMullen saying 5-0. Same as you, Ryan. John Milan saying 5-0. And excellent work on the Celtic way this season, boys. John, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. We'll be back post-match at some point. Look out for the player ratings and the instant analysis from today, as well as other stuff from the main protagonists who speak after the game. It's Trophy Day, Ryan. It's a scorching hot day. Hope you enjoy it, sir. And wherever you are and wherever you're watching it, have a great day. Enjoy it. Celebrate responsibly, as they say, Ryan. Yes? Is that the new buzzwords now?
That's been the message that's been sent out loud and clear over the past 24 hours. Yes,
indeed. But first word in that one is celebrate. Enjoy it, and always result dependent. But have an enjoyable day in the sun wherever you're watching Celtic lift the trophy. Here's hoping that they put on a performance in a show. Ryan's confident they will. I'm pretty confident they will too. Take it easy, guys, and we'll see you all soon.
Cheers, guys.